All right, let's talk about something that pretty much runs our digital lives in India, whether we know it or not, the Information Technology Act of 2000. I mean, for over 2 decades, this single law has shaped everything, from your online shopping to national cybersecurity. But, and this is the big but, can a law written back in the dial-up era really handle our world of AI and social media? That's the question we're digging into.
Okay, to really get this, you have to transport yourself back to the year 2000. The internet in India was just getting started. E-commerce? That was a brand new kind of weird idea. Social media wasn't even a thing yet. So India was stepping into this new digital age, but it was basically the Wild West. You had this incredible new frontier, but absolutely no rules, no framework to govern.
So, to fill that huge legal gap, Parliament passed the Information Technology Act. And you can really think of it like this. It was like they were installing the very first set of traffic lights in a digital city that was growing at a crazy speed. The whole point was to bring some order, some safety, and a little bit of predictability to this new, chaotic online world. And right from the beginning, its purpose was pretty straightforward. It was all about building a legal foundation for e-commerce, actually defining what a cybercrime is, and, this was huge, for the very first time, giving real legal power to digital documents and signatures. Honestly, this was a complete game changer.
And in its early days, the Act was genuinely seen as this pioneering piece of law. It was celebrated, and for good reason. It really kick-started India's whole journey into the digital economy by getting a few crucial things right from the get-go. So let's break down what we could call the Act's golden age. First, by legalizing e-transactions, it gave businesses the confidence they needed to even try going digital. Then, by defining crimes like hacking, it gave law enforcement a playbook they'd never had before. And finally, by creating special bodies to handle disputes, it offered a way to actually settle cyber-related problems. I mean, these were the absolute pillars that India's digital economy was built on.
But then, well, the world changed, and it changed fast. That law, which was once this celebrated pioneer, started to look more like an aging veteran, kind of struggling to keep up with a whole new generation of challenges that it was just never ever designed to face. Just think about it. The Act was written for the internet of the year 2000. We're talking dial-up modems, basic email, and simple websites. That was the entire digital landscape.
And today's internet it's a completely different universe. We've got sophisticated AI, IoT devices in our homes, cloud computing, blockchain, and of course, social media is everywhere. Technology just took this massive leap forward, but the legal language was stuck way back in the past.
So this huge gap between an old law and brand new technology, it basically created a modern battlefield. It became this space where the courts, regular citizens like you and me, and the government all started to clash over these really fundamental questions of rights, security, and freedom online.
And that brings us to a central question that really fueled one of the IT Act's biggest controversies, and ultimately a landmark Supreme Court case. This is where the Supreme Court had to step in. In the famous Shreya Singhal case, they struck down a part of the law called Section 66A. See, the court found that this section, which was supposed to stop offensive messages, was so vague and so broad that it could easily be used to shut down legitimate free speech and criticism. This was a massive win for civil liberties in digital India.
Okay, so while the courts were busy protecting free speech, the problem of actual online crime was just exploding. As you can see from the data here, reported cases absolutely soared between 2017 and 2018. It really highlights the massive challenge law enforcement was up against. At the same time, the government started using its powers under a different part of the Act, Section 69A, to tackle national security concerns. Now, this led to some really large-scale and pretty controversial bans of popular mobile apps. The most famous example, of course, was the ban on 59 Chinese apps back in 2020. And once again, the judiciary played a super crucial role in modernizing India's digital rights landscape. In 2017, the Supreme Court's Pataswamy judgment declared that the right to privacy is a fundamental right. This landmark decision had huge implications for data protection and basically set the stage for all future digital laws in the country. So when you take all of this together, the outdated language, the major court cases, and these new realities of privacy and security, it brings us right to the present day. We're in the middle of this ongoing search for a new legal framework, one that's actually fit for the challenges of tomorrow.
So, what should a new law even look like? Well, experts tend to agree on a few key ideas. First, it has to be technologically neutral, which is a fancy way of saying it shouldn't become outdated the second a new technology appears. It also needs to clearly define modern crimes like AI misuse and deepfakes. And of course, it has to work together with other new laws and seriously strengthen data security for everyone.
But look, a new law on its own is only part of the solution. You can have the best law in the world, but it needs constant support to work. What does that mean? It means better training and better forensic tools for law enforcement. It also means specialized education for judges so they can actually understand these incredibly complex new kinds of crimes.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. If the story of the IT Act teaches us anything, it's this. Creating laws for the digital age isn't a one-and-done kind of deal. It's a constant process of being vigilant, of adapting, and of trying to navigate a future that's always just around the corner.